Welcome to episode 147 of Norse Myths, Legends, and Folktales. My name is MyLinda Butterworth, and today we hear about two old women who make a bet concerning their husbands in Silly Men and Cunning Wives. Once on a time there were two goodies who quarreled, as women often will, and when they had nothing else to quarrel about, they fell to fighting about their husbands as to which was the silliest of them. The longer they strove, the worse they got, and at last they had almost come to pulling caps about it. As everyone knows, it is easier to begin than to end, and it is a bad lookout when wit is wanting. At last one of them said there was nothing she could not get her husband to believe if she only said it, for he was as easy as a troll. Then the other said there was nothing so silly that she couldn't get her husband to do it. If she only said it, it must be done. But for he was a fool, he could not tell B from a bull's foot. Well, let us put it to the proof which of us can fool them best, and then we'll see which is the silliest. That was what they said once, and so it was settled. Now, when the first husband, Master Northgrinch, came home from the wood, his goody said, "Heaven help us both, what is the matter? You are surely sick if you are not at death's door." "Nothing ails me but want of meat and drink," said the man. "Now, heavens be my witness," screamed out the wife. "It gets worse and worse. You look just a corpse in your face. You must go to bed, dear. Dear, this never can last long." And so she went on till she got her husband to believe that he was hard at death's door, and she put him to bed. And then she made him fold his hands on his breast and shut his eyes. She went on to stretch his limbs and laid him out and put him in a coffin. But that he might not be smothered while he lay there, she had some holes made in the sides so that he could breathe and peep out. The other goody took a pair of carding combs and began to card wool, but she had no wool on them. In came the man and saw this tomfoolery. "There's no use," he said, "in a wheel without wool. But carding combs without wool is a work for a fool." "Without wool?" said the goody. "I have wool, only you can't see it. It's the fine sort." So when she had carded it all, she took her wheel and fell to spinning. Nay, there is all labour's lost," said the man. "There you sit wearing out your wheel as it spins and hums, and all the while you're nothing on it." "Nothing on it," said the goody. "The thread is so fine it takes better eyes than yours to see it, that's all." So when her spinning was over, she set up her loom and put the woof in and threw the shuttle and wove cloth. Then she took it out of the loom and pressed it and cut it out and sewed a new suit of clothes for her husband out of it. And it was ready, she hung the suit up in the linen closet. As for the man, he could see neither cloth nor clothes. As he had once for all got it into his head that it was too fine for him to see, he went on saying, I understand it's all so fine because it's so fine." So in a day or two, his goody said to him, "Today you must go to the funeral. Farmer Northgrange is dead, and they're burying him today, and so you better put on your new clothes." Yes, very true, he must go to the funeral, and she helped him on with his new suit, for it was so fine he might tear it asunder if he put it on alone. So when he came up to the farm where the funeral was to be, they had all drank hard and long, and you may fancy their grief was not greater than they saw him come in his new suit. But when the train set off for the churchyard, and the dead man peeped through the breathing holes, he burst out into a loud fit of laughter. He said, "I can't help laughing, though it is my funeral, for if there is an Olaf Southgrange walking to my funeral stark naked." When the bearers heard that, they were not slow in taking the lid off the coffin, and the other husband, he in the new suit, asked how it was that he, over whom they just drank his funeral, lay there in his coffin and chattered and laughed when it would be more seemly if he wept. Said the other, "You know, tears never yet dug up anyone out of his grave. That's why I laughed myself to life again." But the end of all their talk was that it came out that their goodies had played those tricks. So the husbands went home and did the wisest thing either of them had done for a long time. And if anyone wishes to know what it was, he had better go ask the birch cudgel. And here is where I end my tale for today. But I'll be back with more tales. Many more tales. Until then, my friends, enjoy the journey.